Okay, Jai Janendra, everyone.
Jai Janendra.
Jai Janendra. Chalo. Let's see how many of you are here. Arohi, I don't see you. Okay, I see you now. Let's see if everyone's videos are on. Okay, there are two Arohis in the class. One is Arohi Jain and the other one is Arohi Ajmera. Good. Stuti has joined. Naisha is there. Priyanshu is there. Ira is there. Okay, who else? Abhiraj. I don't see some of the kids that joined last class. Probably they'll join. Let's get started with our class. Everyone can hear me and see me. Okay, let's do the Mukar mantra once. Okay. Namo Arihantanam
Namo Sedana Namo
Namo Vajaya Namo Loe Savasamunam. Okay, that's all. Okay. Now let's revise a little bit about what we have learned in the last class and then we'll move forward. Okay. So we were learning about Jeev and Ajeev. So anybody remember what is Jeev or what are the characteristics of Jeev that we learned in the last class? Yes, Priyanshu.
Jeev is something or someone that could gain knowledge.
Very good. That is one point. What is the other point? Naisha Jain. Naisha, have you raised your hand? If you're speaking, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Yes. Tell me. No? Okay. How about Ira? Give me a minute. Yes, Ira, go ahead. You are on mute, beta.
Jeev is something that has life.
That has life? Life. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course. Whoever is alive is Jeev. But apart from just that, we also learn two other things. Okay. So one Priyanshu mentioned that Jeev is somebody who has ability to gain the knowledge. But there was one more point. I'm looking for that. Does anyone remember? Yeah.
A Jeev is something that cannot gain knowledge.
Cannot?
Yeah.
That can get knowledge. Not Ajeev. Jeev.
I'm talking about
Living being. We're talking about living beings.
no,
Yes, Abhiraj.
a living being is something that has 5 senses. 5 or less.
5 or less. You mentioned that last class too, right? Or somebody else mentioned that? You mentioned it?
In life in our planet, and like in a different on an animated show, we for animals, and so that a sea animal can have 6 senses.
Sixth sense, yeah, that's true. Sometimes you have the sixth sense. So this sense thing is only true for the living beings that are in the world. In the other world, if they are sansari. Okay, what does sansari means is that somebody who is not a god, basically, or somebody who is not a siddh. Okay, siddh Bhagwan does not have any senses, but then is he living being or no? Do you know
Yes.
about where Siddha Bhagwan is?
The soul.
Siddha Bhagwan is just a soul, right? So Siddha Bhagwan does not have any senses. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. Okay. He is Indriyatit, meaning he does not have any Indriya or any senses. But he is still living being. So that's why that definition cannot be applied to that. Okay, Apiraj, is that clear? Yeah. So we cannot say that, okay, whoever has sense. I mean, for some people, it may be true. But then we have to think that Siddha Bhagwan is not Jeev then, which is not true. So, the one characteristic is that anybody who has the ability to gain the knowledge. The second one is the seer. Janna or dekhna means gaining the knowledge and seeing. These two are very important aspect of being a living being. And apart from that, feeling happiness or sorrow. The living beings have feelings. Okay, that non-living beings don't have. So those are the main characteristics or the properties that a living being has. Then only a living being is considered a living being. Of course, living being has the life, but who is a knower and seer, right? So in this slide, we saw that the knower and the seer, who knows and who sees, is the living being, the one who has knowledge, gyan, and one who experiences happiness and sorrow. Okay, so these are the three things for living being. Now, for the non-living being, completely opposite of what living being has. So they don't have the ability to gain knowledge. They are not knowers and seers. Non-living beings has no knowledge, no gyan, and non-living beings cannot experience happiness or sorrow. They don't have feelings. Okay. Now then we learned the different names by which you can recognize Jeev. Anybody remembers that? There were four different names by which we can recognize Jeev or living being that we learned in the last class. Anybody remembers that?
I know one of them.
Okay, go ahead and say
Chetan.
Chetan. Yes, anybody else? Anybody else?
Prani and Atma.
Atma is one of them, and Chetan is one of them. Jnani?
Yeah, Prani.
Prani, yes. Good job, Prani. Who said that?
Me, Myra.
Myra. Okay, Myra, are you from... Did you join from the iPhone today?
We are driving.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, no worries. Because I did not see her, so I couldn't see her raising her hand or anything. But that's fine, as long as you're there. Okay. Yes. So Jeev, Atma, Chetan, and Prani. These are the four words famously used in our Jain scriptures to mention living beings. Okay. Now, what is Ajeev? What is Ajeev? I just repeated whatever is opposite of Jeev is Ajeev, but can somebody put it into words and tell me? Yes, Aman.
Ajeev is something that can't have five senses or
Can't have five senses. True, but not enter. We cannot identify. We cannot. Ajeev is somebody who does not have five senses or any senses. But we cannot do that, Aman, because then again, Siddha Bhagwan will be considered Ajeev. So we cannot say that whoever does not have five senses is Ajeev.
something that that's
Jaldi bolo.
that
Okay, Ken, then it's okay. Yes, Priyanshu, you raise your hand. Myra, yes.
Ajeev is not the knower and seer. Who doesn't experience happiness and sorrow?
Yes. So you got 2 points right. Yes, very good. There is one more.
There's one more.
Who does not have gyan? It's the same thing. Not being knower and seer. Probably you can consider in that too. But who is not knower and seer? Yes. Who does not have ability to gain knowledge or gyan? That's second. And the third one is that they don't have feelings. They cannot experience happiness and sorrow. So those are the three characteristics for who is Ajeev. So here what it says, one who does not have ability to know or power of perception or to have power of perception is non-living. Okay, for example, diamond, gold, silver, table, chair, pen, pencils, couch, blinds, lamp, phone, you name it, whatever. The other way to know something is non-living is whatever you can see is non-living. Okay, so that is the other. It's not a definition, but you can go by that as well. I mean, it cannot apply to everything. I mean, air you cannot see, but most of the time, whatever you can see is mostly is non-living. Okay, because the living beings or the soul is what is just a soul. It doesn't have what do you call it? It doesn't have any color or any smell or touch, anything that you can touch. It's like somebody said the word. What is like a soul? Soul is like transparent. You can see through. It doesn't have sparsharas gandhvan, means you cannot touch it, you cannot see it, you cannot smell it, and sparsh, and you can taste it basically. So whatever you can see in this world, it's all Ajeev. Okay. Then here some of the example. One who possesses the power of perception is a living being like us, like humans. And then something that does not know or possess no power of perception is non-living being like teddy bear, ball, dolls, picture is here, chair, cloud, skateboard. These are the example of non-living being. And then they are putting forth a question.
People in the class.
Okay. So they're putting forth the question. What is the question that our eyes see and our ears hear? And the body feels pain and pleasure. So is our body living being? And this is what we discussed in the last class before we concluded. So what was the answer to this question?
No. No.
Why? You don't think your body is alive?
Yes.
Yes, it is alive, or no, it's not alive. Okay.
It is alive. The human living being lives with the body.
The human beings live with the body.
Yeah, the body attracts to the living being.
Okay. Yes, Myra, I can't hear you. Are you on mute? Oh, you are on mute now.
My body is not living being, but my soul is living being.
Yeah, body is non-living being and soul is living being. But how? Do you guys ever wonder that? Like, how is that possible? That my body is not living, but I am living. Isn't it like confusing?
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay, Naisha, you raised your hand. You want to say something?
Yes.
What is it?
Ajeev is a non-living.
Jeev is a living being, not non-living being.
I said Ajeev.
Ajeev. So you have to say Ajeev. Don't say Ajeev. Okay? Say Ajeev. Say it.
Ajeev.
Good job. Yeah. So Ajeev is non-living being. That's true. Okay. Anybody else has any question? Arohi, do you understand everything? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. So this is how the Jeev is. Like it has a shape. It takes the shape of whichever body it is inside. Okay. But you cannot see it. That's why this is hollow. If you see, even though the shape is like a human body, it's hollow, it's transparent. And it says, I am Jeev. Okay, the soul is Jeev. So then what is not a Jeev? What is not Jeev? Body. Body is a Jeev. So my soul or I am Jeev, but the body is Ajeev. I am living being, but the body is non-living being. Yeah? Everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Okay. So then here is it's a small table that shows the difference between a living being and a non-living being. So this side is for the living being and this side is for non-living being. So this side says, I possess the power of perception, meaning I have the ability to gain knowledge. I have the ability to understand what I hear or what I see. Okay, so that is G. But body doesn't possess the power of perception, means the body itself, without having a soul inside, cannot gain the knowledge or it cannot have gyan in it. The second point is the seer and the hearer is our soul. Means our soul actually sees through the senses. Our soul is the one who sees, and through our senses, our soul is the one who hears. Okay, so that is that is the job of the soul, not the body. And the eye never sees, and the ear never hears. Okay. Then the third point is
The hand never feels.
hand never feels. Yeah, it is the soul that feels. The living being feels pleasure and pain, and the non-living does not. So, since we are living being, we feel the pleasure and the pain. Now, if we if somebody say that, oh, how can you say that ears are not for listening and eyes are not for seeing, and the my tongue is not testing but it's the soul, and then whatever I'm touching, it's not my body but it's my soul who is experiencing that touch. How can you say that? So to make a point, it says that if the eyes can see and if the ears can hear, then even the dead people or the dead animals also should do that. If the body has the ability to see and hear, then what is the difference between the alive things and the dead things, right? Because dead things, you might have seen like some, let's say some dead bird or somewhere. You see that once they're dead, they cannot see or hear or do anything, right? If the body itself can see or hear, then the dead people or the dead bodies also should move around and do things. But they don't do that. Why they don't do that? Can someone explain? Does it make sense?
Because our body is non-living.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that is how, yeah.
The soul, you
Okay.
aren't.
So our body is non-living.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, because our body is non-living, yes.
because you're not, you're not here feeling. You're not doing anything. All your soul
Hmm.
is the only one making you do that. Goosebumps.
Hmm. Okay. So the point is, it's not about like soul is making you do that, but without your soul in the body or without anybody's soul in the body, it's not possible to do all these things, because these are the properties of soul, not of the properties of the body, because body is the non-living entity. Okay, it's not alive. It is just, it is just like it is just like a cupboard. Okay, but it is just made of that flesh and blood and all that, and it is just, we are just stuck inside it. Okay, the soul is just stuck inside it. Same goes for the dogs, cats, ants. Ants are just in the tiny, ant soul is in the tiny ant body, and our soul is in the big human body, but our soul is same as ant soul or the dog's soul, or the dog soul can be in the next birth inside the human body, and vice versa. The human body can be in the next birth in the dog's body. Sorry, the dog, human soul, not the human's body. Human soul can be next birth in the dog's body. Okay, so give me a minute. Okay, so are we clear up to this point? What is living being, what is non-living being, and between the soul and the body, what is living being, what is living and what is non-living? Are we clear up to this point? Yes? Is it getting boring? No? Okay. Okay, how many of you knew before that the body is non-living and the soul is living being? How many of you knew? Okay, Priyanku, Stuti, Arohi,
Mommy,
Abhiraj, Stuti.
not me.
Not Ahan. Ahan did not know. He just got to know today. Arya and Aradhya, they knew. Who else knew? Ira also knew. Oh, so we all knew. That's cool. Except Ahan. So you got to know today.
Yeah.
No big deal. Yeah. So no big deal. It's okay. You got to know today. So here it's just a picture view of how you should view your soul inside the body. So this is the soul. It's in the shape of human body, and this is just a body, which is Ajeev. Okay, and here for the view from the point of view of animals, this is the elephant soul inside the elephant body. Body is Ajeev, but the soul is Ajeev, a living being. Okay, so now the important point. What is, yes, Abhiraj, you have a question? Hmm.
No.
Okay. Because your hand is raised, so I thought you have a question. Okay. So why do we need to know? Why do we need to know what is alive, what is not alive? What benefit does it give us? Like, what is the benefit of knowing about Jeev and Ajeev? Can you think of it? Like, why do we need to know?
Well, when we're taking and class is done.
Yeah. Do you know why do we need to know what is Jeev and what is Ajeev?
Because we don't start making stuff talk.
No,
Well, that's like going crazy.
no.
Because we I think because
See, nowadays it's not about stuff making talk. I mean, nowadays there is, the science has made so, has become so much advanced that you have robots talking, doing things similar to like humans. So it's not about stuff, start thinking about making the stuff talk, but otherwise also, why do we need to know what is Jeev and what is Ajeev?
um
And it is a question to all. Give it a little bit thought.
so
Like, why do we need to? Let other people also have some chance, okay? Yes, Ira.
so we don't thought any Jeev.
So we don't hurt any Jeev. Yes, that's a very good point. If we know that if we know about all the other living beings, then we will not hurt them. That's true. Yes, good point. Anyone else?
Your body is not living, but your soul is living.
Yes, that's true. Okay, so let's read what it is written here. Okay, let's give a little read to this one. Without knowing this, we cannot have a correct understanding of our soul. And without such understanding, we cannot attain real happiness. So, what are they saying? Without understanding of our soul and without such understanding, unless we know what is the property of soul and what is the qualities of the body, what are the characteristics of the body, we cannot understand our soul better. So let's say if somebody is thinking that the body and the soul is the same, so there is nothing separate about them, then it's a misconception, it's a misunderstanding, right? That somebody is thinking that their body is who they are. That means they don't know that there is a soul inside and the vice versa, right? So if you don't know that soul is separate from the body, then how we will work towards getting our soul liberated from the body? Because the goal is to not have any body, or um, not to have our soul locked in the body. Being in the body is not a good thing. It is opposite of what the soul's nature is. The soul's nature is to be free, just like Siddha Bhagwan. So that is the purest state of soul, or that is the goal of everybody, all of us, that we want to be without body. We don't want any body, because this body keeps changing with every birth and death. Based on our karma, we get different bodies. It could be any animal body, or it could be, we can be plant, we can be a tree, we can be fire, we can be water, we can be inside any of these bodies. And it is continuously changing based on our karmas. So until and unless we understand that, okay, we are separate and the body is separate, and yes, there is a way to get out of any of these body and just attain moksha, we will not be able to liberate ourselves. So this understanding is very crucial. Until and unless we know that I am different than my body, then only you can work towards achieving the state that the Siddha Bhagwan has attained. Does that make sense? Yes, Myra. Give me a minute.
Unmute? Are you unmute?
Yeah. I'm on mute.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, Myra.
So, why is fire a living thing?
Yeah, fire is also a living thing, you know. Fire is the body of a living thing. So every time we ignite the fire, there is a new Jeev inside that is born. That's why, that's why they say that unnecessarily you should not lit the fire, or unnecessarily we should not waste water, because there are living beings inside the water where the water itself is their body. Okay. Yes, Ahan, you were saying something?
Maybe after someone dies, they might the soul might even change into a dinosaur. They might even change into a dinosaur, right?
Yeah, that's possible.
And that would be cool when that happened to me.
You want to be dinosaur?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Myra. You were saying something else? Was there any other point you were saying? Okay, no. Anybody else? Did you have any other point to say? Does it make sense that if we don't know, it is just as if like if you don't know that okay, how do I say it? You know, okay. Let me come up with some example, okay? So did you all see a coconut, the hard one? Yeah, and then when you break it, the coconut fruit comes out of it, right?
I saw coconut.
Yeah.
From the coconut, right? So now if we think that the coconut itself is the fruit, will anyone try to break it and take the coconut fruit out of it?
No.
No, right? Because we think that, okay, oh, this is it. This is what it is, right? The same way, we are, even though we are inside the body, we are completely separate from the body. It has like some kind of bond with the body because the soul has to be there inside the body, and that's how it feels the pain and pleasures, whatever the, and we think that the body is feeling that, but actually the body is not feeling that, the soul is feeling that. And that is the reason, if we don't know this, then we cannot really work towards ending this cycle of birth and death. And that's where it starts. That's why it is very important to understand this.
Do we want to stop the cycle of birth and death?
Hmm.
Do we want to stop it? Why?
Why? Because it's painful, right? Every time you have to change, you have to, every time. So right now in this life, I'm surrounded by you guys, right? And then I have to leave everything behind and take birth somewhere else and start all over. And then when we go from one place to another or one life to another, we don't really remember anything. So we have to start from scratch, and it is all very painful because you feel pain when you leave something, and then you also feel pain when you go somewhere, and then and this cycle continues, right? Even in our day-to-day lives, if we have to go through so many changes, we don't like it, right? If you have to change the school, or if you have to change the school very frequently, let's say every 6 months, or if you have to change your town, move out somewhere, roam around every year or every 6 months, is it going to be painful or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is painful? It's the same, right? It's the same school setup.
It's painful because you miss your friends.
Yeah. So we see it as it's a nature of humans that they don't like change, but then we keep changing uh, from life to life, right? And then not necessarily will be like humans all the time.
Friends.
Hmm?
We keep changing and we meet new friends.
Yeah. So it takes a while to make new friends, and then you start having fun, and again you make change. You again go to the different place, right? Again you feel the same pain, and it keeps continuing. That is how, this is a very small pain in I just wanted to give you the example, that's why I said that. But the taking the birth every time and dying every time in every life, that is also painful. And then you go through so many things in your life, so many happiness, sorrow, more sorrow, less happiness, and all this illusion around attachments and stuff. Siddha Bhagwan does not have to go through any of these things. So that is the main goal. Yes, Myra, you raised your hand.
So it's like a pattern. You meet new friends, you play with them for a while, you go home, you move. It's like a
Mhm.
pattern.
Yeah, it is a pattern. But then we need to break the pattern, right?
So
Yeah.
basically, you just have to make sure
Make sure what?
what if we make a cycle in our
Yeah, that's what. You have to break the cycle in human
On my
life.
hand.
You cannot break this cycle. I mean, you can start, but actually the cycle is broken when you are human only, because you have more, you are able to gain more knowledge, you're able to understand more things. Yes. Anyone else? Okay, so we have just 4 more minutes. Anybody has any question about Jeev and Ajeev? Because this is our last slide and we have concluded our topic of Jeev and Ajeev.
Our soul can break the cycle.
Yes,
Can I just scroll all the way up?
the soul can break the cycle.
Can I scroll all the way up?
Who said that? Stop.
I want to scroll all the way up.
Why? What do you want to see?
The start and then go all the way to the back.
Okay, so that is the topic of Jeev and Ajeev. Now, the next class, we are going to learn about 4 gatis. Okay, because we have been talking about the 4 gatis. Yes, Naisha?
If you don't have a leg, you cannot walk.
Then what about snake? Snakes don't have any legs. You know that?
I think I know.
Hmm? Snakes don't have legs. They just move their muscle and move around. Yes, Myra?
I know the 4 gatis.
You know the 4 gatis.
Yeah.
Then maybe you can teach. I will take rest next class.
I don't know all about it.
Okay. Okay. So we are going to learn some more new things. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you know, let's see if we learned something new, and then you have to tell me what was what was that something new that you learned that you did not know before. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So many of you told me that so many of you knew about Jeev and Ajeev, but what is that one thing that you learned new in this class? Was there anything new that you learned in this class?
Not working, Mom. I'm trying
What's not working?
Something new we learned about this class is that is about the cycle.
It's about the cycle. Okay. Yes. That's a new point. What else?
I learned new that my body is a non-living thing
Wow. That's cool.
and my soul is a living thing.
Yes. Tell me who you are.
Myra,
Jeev, Jeev, Jeev.
I'm a Jeev.
Yes. Okay. So whenever somebody say, tell me who you are, Jeev, 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 I am Jeev.
Okay.
And tell me who you are. Tell me what is the body? Ajeev, Ajeev, Ajeev. Okay. All right. So we reached the end of our class. I'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to tune in. Till then, Jai Jinendra, everyone.
Thank you.
Jai Janendra.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you. Bye bye. Jai Jinendra.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
How many times you will be thanked?
Huh? Can I quickly send a message? Jai Jinendra.